Tanny Aspen was raised among gorillas thanks to her father Damien's work in animal rescue. One gorilla in particular, Jalta, had a deep and unique bond with her. Though she was eventually told not to see him again, the emotional connection between them remained strong in her heart. After many years apart, Tanny and her father decided to visit the gorillas they had once cared for. They traveled by boat to the sanctuary where Jalta now lived. Before arriving, they were warned not to get too close. The gorillas had lived in the wild for years and might not recognize humans from their past. Still, Tanny held on to the hope that Jalta remembered her as vividly as she remembered him. As the boat neared the forest shore, several gorillas emerged through the trees, watching cautiously. Tanny's heart raced as she recognized Jalta, now larger and stronger than before, but still familiar. Despite warnings from the guides, she jumped from the boat and walked straight toward him. Her father and the others feared for her safety, knowing how powerful gorillas could be. Jalta approached her and grabbed her arm. For a moment, tension filled the air. Was he being aggressive? But Tanny stood still, trusting their old bond. And just like that, Jalta embraced her. He remembered. The years melted away in that instant. Their bond had started long ago, when her father founded the Aspen Foundation and began rescuing orphaned wild animals, including gorillas. The family also ran Howlett's Zoo in Canterbury, where Tanny and her siblings had a magical childhood surrounded by animals of all kinds. One of their earliest gorilla companions, Bims, arrived after being badly injured by poachers. He needed care and trust, and Tanny often spent hours comforting him. Later, baby Jalta came to the zoo. He was small, fragile, and scared. Tanny fed him with a bottle, held him like a baby, and helped raise him. Their connection became like that of siblings. As Jalta grew older, he was introduced to Bims at the zoo. The team was worried that Bims, being much older and bigger, might not accept Jalta. But when the two gorillas met, it was immediate friendship. They played together and looked after one another. Tanny continued to visit them often and even entered their enclosure. Her bond with both gorillas remained strong. But everything changed after a photography crew visited the zoo. Images of Tanny with the gorillas raised concerns among the public and animal authorities. From then on, she was no longer allowed inside the enclosure or to touch them again. The change devastated her. Every day, she would visit them, pressing her hand to the glass wall as the gorillas did the same from their side. The separation hurt them all, but it was part of a bigger plan. The goal of the foundation was always to prepare these animals for life in the wild. After years of rehabilitation, Bims and Jalta were ready. Tanny said emotional goodbyes, hugging them one last time before they were sedated and sent to a sanctuary in Gabon, Africa, a safe forest reserve where they could live freely with other gorillas. Watching them leave was like losing family. The years passed slowly. Damien visited the sanctuary once and saw that Bims and Jalta were thriving in their new environment. They had joined a wild group and had adjusted beautifully. Though the outcome was what they had hoped for, Tanny still felt a deep ache. She often thought about them and wondered if they remembered the love they had shared, the care, the play, the bonds built over time. Would they forget her entirely, now that they lived as wild animals, free and far from the world of humans? Nearly 20 years later, Damien had a health scare, which prompted him to revisit the sanctuary. Tanny didn't hesitate. She wanted to go too, despite everyone warning her not to. They feared the gorillas wouldn't recognize her anymore and that the visit could ruin her precious memories. But she needed closure. The journey was long and difficult. Several flights, rough drives through remote areas, and a final boat ride deep into the forest. Upon arrival, they were told to keep their distance unless the gorillas showed calm and welcoming behavior. Only then would Tanny be allowed to step forward and see if Jalta still remembered the girl who once raised him like a brother. As she stood on the forest floor, eyes locked with Jalta's, time seemed to stop. Tanny stepped forward gently, heart pounding in her chest, until Jalta reached for her again, this time pulling her into a full, powerful embrace. He leaned his head in her shoulder, just like he used to. Tears welled in her eyes as she whispered his name, overwhelmed by the quiet truth. He had never forgotten her. The connection they shared had survived distance, years, and the wilderness. Around them, the forest was still, as if even nature paused to witness the reunion. Her father stood nearby, emotional and speechless, realizing that what they'd built all those years ago hadn't faded. It had endured. In the end, it wasn't just about the memory or the moment. It was about what love, trust, and time can build, and how deeply those bonds can last, even when everything else changes. Tanny left the sanctuary with a full heart, knowing Jalta was truly where he belonged, safe and free. But she also knew something else now. No matter how far they drifted or how wild the world became, he would always carry a part of her with him, just as she would always carry him.